Hey guys, and in this video we're gonna look at making games in LibreOffice Calc. This is a partner video to the making games in Excel that I'm also doing. So if you're using Excel, you can go ahead and click on that video. If you are going to be using LibreOffice, you can stay right here and follow along. A lot of it is exactly the same, but there are some syntax differences between the two languages. So preface that by saying if you want to go ahead and follow the Excel version and then tweak it to work with the LibreOffice version, that is available. If you want to stay here, learn the LibreOffice version, and then tweak it to Excel, that is also a viable option. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the higher lower game in LibreOffice directly into the cells, like we did for the Excel version, and then we will do the dialogues. So let's go ahead and just grab we'll do 4 columns, merge cells, and then I'm just going to call it higher slash lower. Go ahead and center that. We'll do like this here for the text, so merge cells. The numbers are between 1 and 20. Do you think the next number will be higher or lower? And then let us format the cell for this. We want to wrap text automatically. Okay. And then center. Format. Let's see. And then vertical middle. All right, there we go. Oh yeah, I think what we did last time is we did one. So, and I didn't do this in the second part, but we'll do it here. The current number is, let's go ahead and center, grab these, merge, and this is where we'll put the number, and then we need to get buttons. View and toolbars, form controls, push button. Yeah, I guess we can use push button. That's fine. So then let's put it down. And then we do control properties. We call it higher button. Label will be higher. And then we will copy and paste and drag it on over here. Properties, this is lower button, and this will be lower. Okay. Tools, macros, organize macros, basic. We'll go to untitled 1. Here, we'll do new. We will call this higher. All right. So then in here, we have our subroutines. So we'll do sub higher, and sub lower, and sub. So we have our start, we'll call this game start. We have higher, we have lower. We have next round, and sub. I'm going to show you guys something with the LibreOffice version that's not in the Excel version. Is it really doesn't matter. It doesn't care as much about capitalization as other languages do, so just be careful with that. So we'll do sub score check. Sub, so if I leave it in sub with a capital U there, it's still going to it's still going to treat that like it's the end of the sub if it was a lowercase u. On score check, we need in game, sub, end game, and sub, and I'm going to go up here and change it because my brain will not let me. And then let's just do sub. We'll do start button and sub just to kind of match the vibe that we did before. All right, so here we are going to do our variables. So we'll do dim current number as integer, dim next number as integer, score as integer, and we have high score, score as integer, and then game over as boolean. All right, so then when we start the game, we first want to make sure that we have game over, which we need to one word, not two, equals false. Score will equal 0. We will go to score check to make sure that the score and everything gets set correctly. And then we will set our current number and everything. But before I get that far, I do want to go here and make sure we mark these as score and high score. And then I do want these to be centered. I do want this to be centered. I'm also going to go to format cells and also make sure that it's set to middle. Okay, now we can get back to this here. So we'll do score check. We need to get current number. Number equals int rand times 20 plus 1, and then we call next round. Okay, higher will be if next number is greater than current number, then score equals score plus 1. Actually, no, before we do that, we want to do if not game over, then we do this. Then we call score check, and we go to next round. Else, we go to end game. We end the if, we end this if. Hold on, what we can do here is if it is game over and we click it, we go to game. That should be everything we need here. If it's lower, what we're going to do is we're just going to copy and paste that in here. There. We're going to change this to lower. Else in game, else. This is where we'll store the value for the score, and then next round, next number equals int rand times 20 plus 1. Okay, and then we need to write this to the appropriate cells. Okay, now the way I'm going to do this may not be the best way to do it. I do know that there are other ways that you can go about storing these into their own variables and calling those to make it a bit shorthand. I'm going to write it out so that way you guys can kind of see and understand what it is they're actually doing. But a lot of times they'll do things like doc as an object, and then they'll say doc as this component, and then they'd start like sheet, which is just sheets dot get by name. And we do sheet 1 dot, and then this is the what would be range in Excel. It's get cell range by name. I'm going to do A1 dot value equals current number. A1 isn't where we want it. End, that's just like a placeholder. In the end, we'd want it to go to C8. So let's go ahead and put that in. I just kind of put A1 so that way I knew where I was going to put this. C8. Okay. So to test to make sure that that does work, let's go back here. Let's click on our hire button, copy, paste. We'll go to control properties. We want this to be the start button. Label is going to say start. And let's scroll down. Positioning 0, 0. Alrighty. Right click. Properties. Go to events. Gotta go to this execute action. Choose a macro. I'm going to go into our untitled standard hire. Go to game start. Okay. And then now let's take it out of design mode and start. 2, 17, 3, 14. There you go. So now that creates our random number. So we are most of the way there. Score check. So for this is going to be where we check to make sure, or to write the score and then check to see if the score and high score are, if the high score is higher than or lower than the score. So we're going to do if score is greater than high score, then high score equals score. And if. And then now we are going to write the score in. So we want it at G2 and H2. So G and H. So right here, what I'm going to do to make this a little bit quicker is I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to paste. So now we said it was G2 and H2. G2 would be score, and H2 would be high score. And then let's also at the game start, let's go here and we'll say high score equals this, and we'll do the same thing we did what we call ZZ1. Alright, so let's grab this here. Yeah, right here. When we say if it's lower, change our mind, we're going to store that there. Okay. So now we have our higher, our lower, our next round. We do a score check, we do next round. The other thing we need to do is we need to make sure that current number equals next number. We want this before the next round. We'll do the same thing here in lower. So that way we're getting the next number to move up into its proper spot. And then now we want to do end game, and then this would be game over equals true. This portion here to say game over exclamation point. And then when, oh yeah, we don't need this because we're hard coding the start button. That's right. Okay, and then we're gonna hard code the higher and lower to function here. And the only other thing I need to do is change the values of the buttons to be quit and retry. Okay, so to change that, we're going to do this component dot, let's just grab this right here. Okay, so this component dot sheets dot get by name, and then we'll do drop page dot forms dot get by index 0 dot get by name. This is where we're going to say we want the higher button. Dot label to change its label. We'll call it retry. Okay, and then if we click retry, so that would be in here, else in game start. So then in game start, let's grab the same thing here. And let's have it go to higher. I'm going to do this same thing, and we're going to call quit, not that, and then this will be lower button, quit. Do the same thing here. Lower, lower button. There we go. Controls, events. You are connected to higher. You are not connected to lower. All right. Forms design lower. No. Okay. Retry. Retry is not working. Okay, so I found our issue with the buttons not working. Came up here and I switched all of our dims to globals. So then now when we test it, so let's go here. We can do start, we get 20 and 13. This is showing me what the next number is. I'm doing this just for testing purposes, so I know it should be lower. Now our score goes up, and then 13 to 16, it's higher, 16 to 16. What I want to do there is I want it to probably add one or lower one. But now when I retry, it does what it's supposed to. So the issue is it wasn't persisting the dims across the subs. So let's go in here. And then next number. So we're going to generate next number if next number equals current number, then next number equals next number plus 1. If next number is greater than 20, then next number equals 1. And if. There we go. Well, let's double check this again. 2019, lower, 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 higher, higher, lower, higher, lower, high, low, high, low, low. Okay, looks good here. All right. And then retry. Perfect. So now what I need to do is, one, let's go ahead and get rid of this so you can't see the numbers. And then two, we're going to set this equals high. We'll set our high score. So then let's go here and we'll click start. Current number is 7, higher. Higher. Ooh, okay. Retry. You know what? I need to make sure that even if we retry, we're saving our high score as well. Copy this. Let's save that high score. Alrighty. Let's go back. Start. Higher. Lower. Higher. Okay. Retry. Now I have this higher. Higher. Okay. Higher. Lower. Lower. Ooh. Lower. Okay. Definitely lower. Higher. Higher. Ooh. Okay. Quit. We click start, and then there we go. Ultimate test. Let's go ahead and save and close it. And then I will reopen that file and start. There we go. And that is how we can build the higher lower game in LibreOffice in the cells. I'll be doing a dialog version similar to the user form version in Excel. So stay tuned and we'll work on that one next. Now we're going to make the higher lower game using dialogues in LibreOffice, very similar to how we made them using user forms in Excel. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to go view, toolbars, and then we want form controls, push button, push draw, and then we're going to right click, control properties. We'll go ahead and we'll call this start button. We'll have it say start. Alright, so we have our button, and then everything else will be handled in a dialog. So let's go to tools, macros, organize dialogues. We're going to go ahead and go to here, standard new. We'll call this higher. Edit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to make it a bit bigger. There we go. And we're going to need a couple things. So we're going to grab label, draw in a label. This is going to be called score. Let's call it score. Label, we'll say score. There we go. We want the font to be slightly bigger. So we're going to go with 24. It's good. Let's resize this down. All right. Then we'll go center and middle. All right. So then we want the positioning to be at 0, 0. Okay. We'll copy, paste, paste, paste. So then this is 47 wide. So we want this one to be is at 0, 47, 0. We'll make it a tad bit bigger. We made it 75. Okay. We'll call this score label. And we'll blank it out. This we want to be high score label. Go ahead and blank that out. We're going to make the width 75. We're going to put the Y position at 0. And we're going to put the X position. This is 328 wide. So we'll do 328 minus 75. So 253. So we're going to grab this. We're going to say 253, 0. And then from 253, which is the start, we're going to then minus the width of this one. This is just going to say high score. Let's just say high score. Right. And we need this to be a bit wider. So we're just going to drag this out till we can see the full word. There we go. Width is 77. So we want this one to be at 1760. And there we go. We have our score. We have our high score. Next is we're going to add the next label. This one's going to be a bit wider. This one's going to be called header. It's fine. Doesn't really matter. Label is going to be the numbers are between 1 and 20. Do you think the next number will be higher or lower? Question mark. And we're going to go ahead and go font. Go ahead and boost that up. And we need to make sure we turn on word break. Yes. Alrighty. So we already went ahead and we had established that this is 328 wide. So let's just go ahead and do 328. And we want this to be at 0. We know that these are 24 high. So this should be at 24. And this, we're just going to pull this down until we see the full thing. So I'm going to put that at 30. There we go. Copy, paste. We want this to be right underneath it. So this is 73 high. So that's 30 plus 73. So that's at 103. So we want you to be 0, 1 of 3. Width, height is all fine. Current number label. Put 20. And then we will center middle. And we will go ahead and crank up the font size. Alright, and then we're just going to shrink. Oops. We still want that at 103. We just don't need it as tall. That's looking good. And then we just need a couple of buttons. We got a button. One. Take this, we copy paste. 2. We want this to be higher button. I'll have this just say higher. We want this to be at 0 and all the way at the bottom, so that a height of 40, and the height of this is 218. So we put it at 178. There we go. This will be at 178, and then we know it's 328 minus 82. So that puts it at 246. And this will be lower button. Lower. We then also want to make sure we up the font size. So do that. And we do that. Okay. And let's go here. Let's go ahead and delete that. All right, the numbers are between 1 and 20. Do you think the next number will be higher or lower? Ooh, this is not at the right spot. This should be 178. And this is at 178. Okay, perfect. So then we have higher, lower. All right, so now we're done with the setup, and now it's just the coding portion. So we'll come here, go to Tools, Organize Macros Basic, come in here, New, we'll call this Game. There we go. All right, so then it's going to be very similar to what we've done in the past, and it'll look just like we did with the one that we made in Excel, or inside of this spreadsheet itself. Start by first doing our variables. We'll do public current number as integer. Next number as integer. We'll do, I don't know why I keep putting K there. Score as integer. High score as integer. And then game over as Boolean. Okay. So then on main, we want game over to be false. We want our score to equal 0. We will have a score check function that we're going to want it to check into. Then we are going to current number equals int R&D times 20 plus 1. That gets us our current number. Alright, and then other things that we're going to want to add is we're going to want to make sure we grab our high score. So we'll do high score equals, and for this we're going to want to do this component dot sheets dot get by name sheet 1 dot to get the cell, so get cell range by name, and like the other one we're going to put it at ZZ1 just so it's kind of far out there, dot value. I believe, oh yeah, we can, then yeah, we'll go to next round. That sounds like a good plan. So then we'll do sub next round and sub this one, and let's do sub score check and so then we'll do our score check real fast. So let's do if score is greater than high score, then high score equals score. And if next number equals int rand times 20 plus 1, then we're going to do if next number equals current number, then next number equals next number plus 1, then if next number is greater than 20, so if it was 20, we plus 1, we would make it higher than 20. Then we do then next number equals 1, and if, and then to add it to the label of the dialog, we're going to have to go back up into main, and the first thing we're going to want to do is make sure we are activating the dialog. We're going to do dialog libraries dot load library, and then we're going to do standard, and then we need to have a then we'll call this game dialog. This will be game dialog equals create Uno dialog parentheses. We want this component dot dialog libraries dot standard dot higher. The game dialog dot get control, and we want to get control of, oh, what did we call it? So let's go back in here. We want this is current number label, so I'm just going to copy that. And we're going to paste current number label, get control of this, dot text equals, and this is current number. So we're going to have that display the current number. Oh yes, and we're also going to need to display our score. So we'll do game dialog get control, and then this will be score label dot text equals score. And then we're going to basically do the same thing. So let's go ahead and copy, paste, and then this will be my score. And it'll help if I spell label correctly here. EL. And this is high score label. Let me just make sure that I'm spelling those correctly. So score label, high score label, yes. All right. That is perfect. All right, so then we're gonna need when we click higher and then when we click lower. So we'll do sub higher and sub, and then if not game over, then if next number is greater than current number, then current number equals next number, score equals score plus 1. And we obviously want to do our score check just to make sure. And then we want to go back to next round. Else, if it is not higher, it is in fact lower, we then want to go to end game, which we will set. And that ends this if statement here. Else, now this is if it is game over, then we would want to record our high score. So copy, paste, equals high score. And this is if it is a game over, we click on higher, which would then become the retry button. So then we want this to go back to, actually we're gonna make a new one called game start. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do sub main and sub, and then this will become game start. What I want to do is I want to grab this stuff here and I want to put it right here. So we're going to have a couple things that initialize on main, and I don't want them to reinitialize when we do this. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch that up. And then we're going to want to copy sub higher and then paste it. Call it lower. Flip this. So then we record our high score, and then we will change this to game dialog.end execute. It's not end game. And that all looks good on lower. We now need our end game, so then we do sub end game. And this is game over equals true. And then we are going to change a couple things. So we want this, the game dialog, this, copy, this will then say game over, exclamation point, and then we'll want to change the buttons. So we'll do game dialog dot get control of higher button dot label equals retry game dialog dot get control of lower button dot label equals quit. All right, and then we need to take these, copy, and then add game start. We want to change these to say higher and lower. So the one thing we do need is after game start, we would need to initialize the dialog. So then what we're going to do is it is game dialog execute. All right, so let's go ahead and test this now to see how things are shaping up. So I need to go to control properties. On the execution of this button, we need it to go to game main. Okay. Then one thing we need to do to tie all this together is at the end of main, we need it to call game start. Now we can test this. So let's go into tools. Let's go into forms. Let's take it out of design mode. Click the button. Unexpected symbol end sub. Okay, so then we need to end if here. We also need to end if here. And then now we're ready to click the start button. Unexpected symbol. You are correct. That is a very unexpected symbol. That does not need to be there. All right, the numbers are between 1 and 20. Do you think the next number will be higher or lower? So currently the buttons won't do anything. We have not linked them up, but it does load, and that's what we wanted to see. So let's go ahead and go back into here. We're going to go into our higher lower. We're going to click on higher. On execute action, I'm going to find the macro for higher. And then for this, we're going to execute macro lower. Let's go ahead and just save it real fast, just in case. Lower. Okay, there we go. Retry. Higher. Lower. Lower. Higher. Ooh. Lower. Higher. Higher. Lower. Higher. Lower. Higher. Lower. Lower. Higher. 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 Lower. There we go. Game over, retry, quit. If I quit, it closes. And there we go. That is it. We got that one up and running. A couple of things we can do is maybe we don't want this to say LibreOffice 7.3 at the very top. We can actually fix that as well. And we'll notice here it did grab my high score, which is perfect. So let's make that one minor change, and then we can call this one complete. Okay, so then we're gonna go back in here. We're gonna click the corner of this so that way we highlight the actual higher lower box. And then we're just gonna, in this title, we're gonna call it higher / lower. Okay, let's save, start. There we go. Higher, lower. Lower, game over. Higher, higher, lower. And there we go. That is how you can make a higher lower game in LibreOffice using dialogues. If you enjoyed this, please stick around. I'll be doing some more tutorials and how-tos on doing things in Excel and LibreOffice that you wouldn't normally think. Another project that I'm currently working on is a wrestling management sim. I can kind of show you how I set that up and what that looks like. Also working on a kind of cozy coffee shop management sim where you will purchase all the ingredients and things you need to run the shop for a week. And then each day it will randomly generate customers and orders, and then compare that to what the user has, and you'll see your money go up. You'll see ratings from people liking, disliking your drinks. Maybe you don't have something that they do want, all that, and it's all being made inside of Excel and LibreOffice. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you in the next one.